Welcome, everyone, to another episode here of our Mortgage Insider Edition. So, now, as you know, my name is Kim Nguyen, and with me is Preet Singh. Today, what we're going to talk about is new to Canada. So, exciting time, especially for your new journey coming to a new place. We're going to talk all about things that you should be aware of, especially if you're a newcomer here and you want to buy a home. So, Preet, what are your thoughts on it? I know you have a lot of clients in this realm, hey?
Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, this is our second episode for this web series or the podcast if you are on the podcast right now. New to Canada is my favorite topic. Being an immigrant, I always have curiosity to learn about new to Canada when I was not even in the mortgage world. But since I have been in the mortgage world since 2006, I have helped so many clients who have been new to Canada just like me, and it's a fantastic product by all the institutions and the insurance companies, all three insurance companies, where any newcomer to Canada can realize or let's say finalize their goal within few steps. If they're following few steps of the new to Canada policy, they can become a homeowner very soon, and they can basically avoid paying rent, which is throwing money out of your car when you're driving. So,
Pretty
what do you
much.
say?
Pretty much. But I think the biggest thing I find anyone who's new to Canada, like where do you start, right? And Preet, like what would you say in that situation? Like someone who's new to Canada, where do you begin? Like how do you start the process to get yourself into home ownership? What do you suggest?
Absolutely. So my suggestion, day one, when you're new to Canada, so there are a couple of I would say classifications in new to Canada. I would classify them as under permanent residents and work permit class, or let's say the temporary foreign workers, right? So let's talk about the permanent residents or work permit. Either one of them, it applies to both the categories, right? The first suggestion would be when you land in Canada, get a credit card individually in your name. As soon as you set up your bank account, both husband and wife, let's say we will take this example of a couple. In this example, both of you should set up an individual credit card and not tied up to each other. You should not be dependent or a separate supplementary or secondary card. That is the first step that you should have, right? And other than that, we will move on further, like 3 months income history is minimum required. You should be at your employment for minimum 3 months, consistent income, off probation. Then these are the two things I would say. Start with that and go along. We will explain what other things you would need besides these two. Yeah.
hmm And I totally agree with that too, Preet. Like one of the things that I tell my clients, again, myself being Vietnamese, I deal with a lot of Vietnamese clients, right? And the one thing I can't stress enough is yes, when you first come here, getting a credit card is super, super important. But
It
one of the
is.
hurdles, I'm sure you hear it too, is like, well, I went to the bank and they said no, like I can't get a credit card. And the one thing I'd like to stress for anyone listening is get a secured credit card.
Secured credit
Even
card.
though
Yes.
sometimes it's true. You'll go to the bank and you'll run into the hurdles. They'll say, listen, sir, madam, you don't have any Canadian credit history. We can't just give you a credit card just like that. But
Yeah.
again, there is something called a secured credit card, which most people aren't aware of. And with a
Absolutely.
secured credit card, yes, you do have to put money down. But again, it helps establish credit card, and it helps if you're getting a secured card with a major bank too, because some lenders, right? If you get a card with I'm sure, I don't know if you run into this, Pre, but I've had like some lenders say, hey, if you've got a credit card through like, Capital One, like HSB, like HBC, a retail credit card, the Bay credit card, or Capital One Costco card, sometimes that doesn't count towards building credit. So something to kind of be mindful of too.
Exactly. Like I get your point, where some of the credit cards may not be reporting properly to the credit bureaus, the credit agencies, which are namely the Equifax and the TransUnion. So again, you're absolutely right. So if you could get a credit card, a secure one maybe, with an a lender, let's say bank, let's say wherever you're opening your bank account, that would be an basically 100% recommended item, I would say, on the list. Let's say if these people, banks are not still giving you a card, then yes, you can look at other institutions like HBC and Capital One. But make sure that they are reporting it on your credit report, because
Totally.
that's the source for us. As a banker, we will only look at the reported stuff on your credit report, right? So if it is not reported, it's not existing, right? So
It won't help, yeah.
yes.
And like I guess another common thing too, for those listening is what about down payment? So what do you
Absolutely.
need?
Down payment is a very important factor in any application. I have seen files that have been declined only because of down payment. People will put stress on income, people will put, applicants will put stress on credit history, but they will forget about the down payment and they will think that yes, I have the money, why do bank care about that, right? So, but my recommendation to all newcomers to Canada or first time home buyers is take your down payment very seriously. So the rule of thumb regarding down payment is you need to have minimum 90-day history, clean history, and that money should be saved up in your bank accounts, RRSPs, tax-free saving account, mutual funds, wherever it is, minimum for 90 days, right? And for new to Canada clients, when you are basically mobilizing your assets from overseas to Canada, you need to basically go through a proper channel. Bring the money from bank to bank as a wire transfer. Do not use any unconventional methods which are available outside in under the table market. I would never recommend those methods, right? Always bring in your money that you are bringing in from overseas via bank as a telephonic
Mhm.
transfer, wire transfer, different names, right? So these methods, when you use, you will get a receipt from basically the source of the where the money came from. So if your parents are sending you money, ask them to scan that receipt, and that receipt will basically say who sent the money to who, what address, which bank, all those details will be there. Banks will
Mhm.
ask that document 100%. So
Oh, for
if
sure.
yeah, if the clients don't basically want to go through all those documentation, then your money should be the down payment should be basically 90-day old, right? And especially in case of first time home buyers new to Canada, couple of the insurance companies, they need your they need your down payment first 5% from your own pocket. It should be saved up. It cannot be gifted. It cannot be gifted by anybody. Not even parents can gift you. So if you're buying a property for $400,000, the first $20,000, first 5% should be your own money. The rest of
Mhm.
on top of that, you can get it gift from your
Mhm.
parents, right? So
And that's so important to note as
it is.
well. And that's why like I know a lot of newcomers when they come here, they'll say, Kim, well, I read on, whatever website or search on Google said that, hey, if you're buying a home, like you can have 5% and it can be
Mhm.
gifted. But anyone who is a newcomer to Canada, whether you're on work permit or you're in process of
Permanent
getting your
resident.
permanent residence and stuff, you got to
Yeah,
know that you guys are the exception, right? There are different rules. So don't always expect that everything that you read online is truth, right?
absolutely.
That 5%, I know it catches a lot of people off guard. So just ensure that having that there, words to live by, having that there, having a clear trail of where it came from, whether it was a transfer from back home or just letting the money sit in your account.
Yeah.
And like I said, just let it sit there and rest for 90 days. Those are the easiest things to kind of help you get your first home here in Canada.
Absolutely. So yeah, your paychecks, when your paychecks are deposited in your bank account, that can contribute towards the saving of the down payment. No objections on that. But if there is any other money that you cannot explain, which is suddenly coming into your bank account in the 90-day window when you're doing the application, all lenders, according to anti-money laundering, which is a federal policy, government policy, they will ask questions where this money came from. So as I said earlier, down payment is the most important factor when you are getting your mortgage approval done, right? So yeah. So
Mhm.
Kim,
So
what do you
Preet,
think?
you're
Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so Preet, you're telling me that keep the money in there and don't move it around to 50 million different accounts, right?
I
Let
know,
it sit.
do not transfer the money
Yeah,
here and there. Just keep it in one account, save it in
yeah,
maybe a tax-free account or savings account, park the money over there and do not touch it for 90 days, right? So
yeah.
yeah.
Totally,
Mhm.
totally.
Absolutely. Yeah. So being new to Canada, there are other requirements that do follow, as you know, Kim. So would you like to explain the alternative sources of credit to our listeners? Like, what
Yeah.
other alternative sources of
Mhm.
credit are required?
Having the credit card, of course, that's, the number one thing that we're looking at. But if in the fact that you don't have the credit card and maybe perhaps, you weren't aware of that, it's not the end of the world, right? There
Mhm.
are other alternatives, and some of the alternatives would be landlord reference. So if you've lived at a certain place, you can definitely get a reference letter from your landlord, along with, confirmation that you paid rent on time. That is something that lenders will also consider as an alternative source to credit because it's an obligation that you have, and as long
Yeah.
as they can see that you've made it on time, you know what? It kind of works out almost equal to a credit card, right? You're using it, you're paying it on a monthly basis. That's an alternative. Similarly, the things that I've seen in the past that we could use too is utility bills, right? Whether it be you're paying your NMAX bill or whatever provider you
F4
decide to
bill.
go with,
Yeah. Yeah.
EPCOR bill.
Mhm.
That could be used. I've also used cell phone bills as well too. So of course, when we look at here, little things that you don't think about, right? Cell
Yeah.
phones, if you're on like a reoccurring monthly basis, that can be used. And
Mhm.
similarly, if you're driving, I've used car insurance as well too. So
Insurance. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then on a
In
weird,
one of the
yeah.
example, one of my client was able to provide daycare expenses as a 12-month
Ah,
history. Like they were able to show to the
yeah,
lender that they have paid 12 monthly payments of their daycare bill on
yeah,
time, which is an
yeah,
obligation again, right?
it
So
is.
anything other than, if you don't have, as Kim mentioned, if the client does not have the credit history established, they can basically provide 12-month rental history or 12-month of other utilities or services that you have used in the last
Yeah,
12 months. That could count as an alternative source of credit. So we touched about credit history, we talked about down payment, and we also talked about income, right? So anything else I'm missing, Kim?
I think we're pretty much good to go, right? And again, like I think just to kind of summarize, the main thing that we want to mention is for those of you listening who are planning to make the move here, are already here, just make
Hmm.
sure that you get your bases covered. And if you're ever unsure, feel free to reach out to us because we'd be more than happy to help you out with that. But
Absolutely.
the fact is that you got to have your income in place, you got to have your credit in place. But do not worry though, if you don't have that credit card since you first came here, there's other methods, right? Make sure you set it up now or look into it, and there's be creative because another thing I can bring up too is maybe you don't have the cell phone or the energy bill or whatnot, but another thing that I've used in the past is a gym membership. So
Yeah,
believe it or not, that also works too. So there are
absolutely.
options, and again, having that down payment put in one solid account and just having that paper trail. Honestly,
Mhm.
these are the ingredients to your success, and yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
If clients have overseas credit history, let's say from US, UK, even some Southeast countries also have their credit history. So if you could pull a report from your source country, that could also help you to show your credit worthiness that you have paid all your Visa, MasterCard, because Visa, MasterCard is global, right? So any bank would be comfortable with if you are showing that, yes, you have like an account elsewhere in the world and you have made payments on time. That could also help you out. So there are different levels when it comes to new to Canada policy, how much down payment you're putting down and what documents are required. If you have more detailed questions, call us at Kim or Preet, and you can find our information on this video. Call us anytime and we can basically find out more detailed answers for you according to your personal situation. So income should be minimum for 3 months old at a stable job, and down payment, as we discussed, and down payment should be 90 days, and credit options, the alternative sources we have provided you. So I hope our listeners can benefit from this conversation, Kim, and we will be looking forward for many more topics like this one. Kim, you have anything to add?
No, and until next time, thank you again, guys, for tuning in.
Okay, sounds good, guys. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.